Should you go on this person's podcast? Is this someone you might want to do an Instagram or YouTube collab with? How do you know who is legit, who's a phony, who's a fraudster, who is possibly going to damage your reputation, and who's legitimately someone who could maybe help your career, help your business? Hey, my name is Chalene Johnson. Thanks so much for joining me here on Build Your Tribe. This is going to be kind of an unconventional, untypical episode for us, but it's bugging me. And I don't know what number I am on the Enneagram, but I really can't stand when people lie. It bugs me. And there's so much of this going on right now. And the reason why it bothers me is because there are so many people out there who are trying to grow their business the right way, who frankly have to figure out how to balance time and money and who they're going to network with and where they're going to spend their time. And everything we do as entrepreneurs is because we want more freedom. And so it really doesn't sit well with me that there's so many people involved in some of the practices. I'm going to blow the whistle on these people, and I'm going to help you to identify who's doing this. And if you're someone who has engaged in some of these practices, I hope that what I'm about to explain to you will change your mind, open up your eyes, and you'll realize like, oh, this is probably not the right way to do things. And if you're watching this on YouTube, it's happening everywhere. It's happening on Instagram, on TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, everywhere. And that is fake clout. It is people who have paid for their followers. And let me break down what this looks like. Okay, so it is someone who has paid for, let's say, 1 million seems to be like the big number, right? So they'll have paid for 1 million subscribers here on YouTube. Before everyone kind of knew that you could buy followers, somebody who was really notable, like just think of the biggest names in whatever space, whether it's marketing or business, you name it, social media, there's some big names out there, right? Like, can you imagine how exciting it would be to land a Gary Vaynerchuk or an Alex Hormozi, whoever it is? Well, these individuals were smart enough to go like, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to reach out to him or her, whoever that is. I've got 1 million followers. That person's team is going to look and see that I've got 1 million followers. They're going to vet this opportunity, and I'm going to get that big fish on my show. So they land, let's say, 1 or 2 of these big names with these fake followers, right? And now what they can do is they can send people like you an email and say, hey, I'd love to feature you on my podcast, where we've had people like, and then they list off all the big names, and you're looking at these names and you're like, holy cow, that's amazing. And they want me on. Now, in some instances, they're just doing this because they want great guests. But I still think it's dishonest because A, you don't have the number of followers you have. I mean, you might have those followers, but they're not truly followers. They're not real followers. And you might be getting engagement, but more often than not, it's fake engagement. It's phony comments. It's comments that you've paid for or that you've paid to be in an engagement pod. So people are commenting, but they're not real customers, right? And so you've tricked somebody into thinking that they're investing their time with you because it's going to give them a return on their investment, but it's not, because it's fake, it's phony, it's a lie, it's deceptive. And I just can't think of anything more important than your reputation. And there's so many people doing this, so much so, and then they tell their friends about it, and now there's this huge group of bros and women too, coaches and the blue checks. And have you ever like stumbled across somebody's YouTube channel and thought to yourself like, how do they have so many subscribers? Well, take a look. You can use programs, some which I will feature below in my show notes, like Social Blade. There's a couple of others that, like right now off the top of my head, I can't think of the names of them. But I will use them to verify when I'm invited onto one of these shows, if in fact it's legit. And if I had $1 for every time I check out one of these people who's, you know, so excited to have me on their show, and they're always with the fancy cars and the amazing graphics and amazing social media, and they're such a brand, and it's all BS. It's BS. And it kills me how many people they've tricked. It's fraud, in my opinion. I just think it's fraudulent because you're not being honest about what the exchange is. So if somebody's going to fly to do your podcast and they're going to put themselves up, and they're going to, lose however many hours that they could normally be working on their business or spending time with their family because you're giving them this opportunity, but it's not an opportunity. It's phony. And the latest scam is now you're going to get an email from somebody like, say, a Ty Lopez, and allegedly, I'll say this is an alleged scam. And maybe you guys don't see it as a scam. Maybe it's just the way he's doing business. But you will get an email saying, we'd like to have you featured on our show. You just need to fill out this application. You fill out the application, and then you find out that there are tiers of how much you have to pay. And Ty is just one of many people like Mike Sean Kelly, who's also doing this, take a look at his YouTube. I know I'm calling people out publicly, but take a look at these people's subscribers. Take a look at how many views they're getting. And yeah, occasionally they're going to get a show that gets decent views because occasionally videos do just pop off on YouTube. But if you're looking at how many comments there are, if you're looking at what's really happening on the channel, you'll realize that it's not what you think it is. And so many of the guests that you're seeing being featured over and over and over, those are people that are paying to be on the show. And they're paying to be on the show because they got excited to get on the show because of these hosts using somebody else's name. And then they use that person's, they're like, oh, hey, look who we had on the show, right? And you're like, oh, that's great. So then you get all excited about going on the show too. And you think to yourself, well, gosh, I guess this is just what fill in the blank big name must have done if he was also on the show. No, it's the new racket. And I don't have any problem with people charging to be on a podcast. I get it. Because if you're giving them a platform, it's like advertising. But you're lying about the platform. And that's where I have a real problem. Verify that you have those followers. Verify that your comments are real. And for those of you who are trying to, for yourself, determine if you want to interact with somebody, look closely. Here are some telltale signs. If it's on Instagram and they're buying their likes will basically stay at about the same for every post. When someone has authentic, real engagement, they're going to have a post that has 300 likes, and then one that has 15,000, and then one that has 10,000, and then one that has 2,000. They're going to be all over the place because that's how the real algorithm works. But when someone's buying their likes, it'll be 5,600, 5,700, 5,900. No, impossible. Then take a look at their comments right away. The second this person posts, a lot of times all the likes will rack up and the comments haven't, that bot hasn't been triggered. So they'll have 6,000 likes and 2 comments. And you're like, the math isn't mathing. And then once the comments start to show up, it can be a photo of this person next to their car. And the comments are great reel, inspirational, keep going, wow, unbelievable, high fives. They're so dumb. They're generic comments. And you'll notice a lot of those people, a couple different things. They're either bots or they're people who are in a paid engagement pod. So these are a huge group of people who are whenever someone else in that pod posts, they are to leave a quick comment. And so the comments will be from other people who also have huge followings and these same numbers that don't add up with the same dumb comments under their posts. It's such a why? None of these people are ever going to be your customers. All you're doing is, and people aren't going to call you out underneath your posts, but a lot of us know it's bogus. And it makes you look like a fool. It makes you look like you're desperate. It makes you look really inauthentic and untrustworthy. Why would I trust someone who lies about all, are you also lying about your success? Are you lying about your credibility? Are you lying about the people that you've helped? Are you lying, how, if you're just this blatant about things, how can you trust someone who is doing that? I think it's a very common practice, so much so that, people get together in their masterminds, in their groups, and they're like, hey, you should do this too. Oh, hook me up. Oh, are you kidding? Oh, no, this guy can get you 500,000 real followers. I always say real followers. Whatever. Don't buy any of that. None of it. Do it the old-fashioned way. It's not even the old-fashioned way. it's the right way. It's a legitimate way. And listen, I remember when we're talking like 12 years ago, when people were saying like, oh my gosh, you can actually buy followers who are into fitness. These are like real fitness followers from an account that's closed. I looked into that. Are you kidding? Absolutely. So like 12 years ago, I did buy, I don't know, I think back then it was probably like 5,000 followers. And it was from a stolen account. And back then we didn't know, but now you know. Anyone who has an account over about 100,000 is going to have between 15 to 20,000 fake followers. So I want to caution you, if you are like, wait, I have all these bots that are following me and I didn't buy them, that's normal. You don't need to block those people, or there's nothing you can do really. If you didn't buy those followers, bots just follow big accounts because they have different scams that they're trying to run on your followers. They're trying to get your followers to notice them. They're trying to get you to notice them and follow them. It's a tactic. They're trying to follow you so that you'll have a conversation with them in their DM. So we all get B-O-T, bot followers. We all get some fake accounts that follow us. And I'm sure you've had this happen where you wake up one day and you're like, who are all these people? These all seem like fake people. They probably are. And there's nothing you can do about that, but Instagram regularly cleans those out. So if you notice, if you look at your follower count, you'll see certain days you're like, oh, wow, I lost a lot of followers today. Don't ever freak out about that, because Instagram is constantly cleaning house. They're constantly getting rid of inactive accounts that they suspect are engaged in bot activity. And so you're regularly going to be losing those fake followers. And so there's nothing you can do about it. And the right thing to do is to just keep doing what you're doing and know that we're all going to get these kind of inconsistent results. And it's a much better thing to have intact is your credibility. I mean, your trust is everything. And I hope that more people start taking action and calling these people out for what they're doing. I hope this doesn't continue to be a trend, because it's really dishonest. And I think you can tell how I feel about it. Anyways, I'd love to know, what do you think? Because I polled my Instagram followers, and I would say probably like 10% of them are like, well, if it's not hurting anybody. I'm like, but it is. It is hurting people. It is. When we're talking about business, yeah, it is. But I don't know. That's my opinion. What's yours? Do me a favor. Share this episode with anyone you know who is in our industry, who has a podcast, who maybe does events, speaks on stages, does collabs with other people, networking. Share this with them, because we really do need to kind of spread the awareness so that everybody knows how to spot these fakes and phonies, and put some pressure, some social pressure on people to stop doing it. It's not cute. It's not authentic. It's not a good look. Hey, and before you go, just double check for me and make sure that you're subscribed here on Build Your Tribe. This is my business channel. Brock and I do episodes here on YouTube. You can listen to us on the Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. But thank you so much for making sure that you are subscribed. It's my goal to be brief, to be bright, to make it fun. I know it was a little sassy today, but now we're done. See you soon.